Hello, everybody. I know I'm a couple of minutes early here, trying to get everything so that we don't give you echo, echo, echo. There we go. This meeting is being live streamed. Hello. How is everybody today? I'm good. Hello, Nancy. How are you today? I actually have my camera or my chat in front of me, so hopefully I don't have to look over there at the computer too much today. What a week, right? So you posted the other day that your husband had had his test done and that they came back good. I'm like, yay, I'm really happy about that. I've been praying that everything would turn out well. So yay, 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 goody, goody. That's always nice to hear. My husband has some tests done tomorrow too. I won't be at Sylvia's chat because he has to be at the hospital at 7:30 Eastern, which means we got to leave here like 6:30 to get in there on time. And not looking for anything specific, just, he hasn't had a colonoscopy in 7 years, this, that, and the other. Just ate lunch and kicking back. Yeah, I want to do that too. I had lunch and then I went and took my shower. So you've got wet hair. Sorry. Um, and after I get done here, then I've got to go do some dishes because I didn't put them away out of the dishwasher. I got to do that yet. So we are going to make a mosaic today. I don't know if you saw on the community tab where I had put up the cut lines or the cutting instructions. See if that'll, yeah, it's not washing. Yeah, my great artwork, right? I'm so good. Not. I'm also doing, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. I'm also doing some podcast stuff. So I'm trying to turn my live videos into podcasts. I don't know how that'll work, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Um, I'm still learning about what a podcast is, etc. So if you have ideas for me, throw them at me, would you please? I don't want that red pokey dot down here. Yeah, it should go well. I'm really hopeful that he will be just fine and that we get good news out of all this. He's a little anxious about it, especially since he's not allowed to eat anything today. He's on clear liquids, and then tomorrow, let's see, 8 o'clock tonight, he has to start all that icky stuff for what do they call it? The drink that you have to drink to make everything come clean out of your body. Yeah, so he's not looking forward to that. Let me turn this around here a little bit where I'm at. And so he's got to do that tomorrow. And I don't know, I guess philosophical yesterday. I was thinking about this blog thing that I want to do, or this podcast. And I got thinking about what I would talk about. And what I was kind of on the thought process was talking about like how people got started sewing. I started sewing when I was a little kid, like, I don't know, 8 or 9. I had Barbie dolls, and Barbie doll outfits were too expensive for my family to afford. Oh no. Oh no, what? About my hubby? He'll be okay. I actually did it a while back for surgery that I had, and I need to do a colonoscopy. So I'm like, ugh, I don't want to do that. Hello, Colleen. How are you today? My girl, my girl, my girl. Gosh, is it 9:53? I think I looked 9:54. I looked right before I came on live, and I was like, "You go, girl." So Colleen is killing it, guys. Hi, Tracy. JC, 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 and she's got to grab coffee. I know how that goes. I want coffee too. I think I always want coffee though. Me and Lori, Sherlock Sows, we drink coffee all day long. I'm like, I need to quit drinking so much coffee. Yeah, that colon cleansing is just, ugh. I told him, I said, I love you. You can have the bathroom all to yourself for the rest of the day. He already started on the pills, and then he does the drinky stuff later tonight. 9:55. Yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yay. That last short must have really killed it, Colleen. Yes, that's awesome. Let's see, and I looked at Sylvia right before I went on. She was at 7:35. Did she gain a bunch all of a sudden too? I think it's the shorts, guys. I really do. Let's see. I need to count 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me double check myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so when I put up the drawing for this yesterday, I noted that you need, for each block, 2 9-inch squares of your background and 2 9-inch squares of your color. And you can do 1 color, 2 color, however many you want. But the example block is all 1 color. And now I can't pull the fabric apart. And here's my 2 9-inch blocks. Not sure if this is going to be my background or my foreground. She's back. Yay. I sound terrible today, don't I? Yuck. Sorry, guys. Let's see. I want 9 inches this way. And I'm cutting these. I'll bring you down here, but I want to make sure we get, let everybody get here that's coming. And then we can start on the block all together. And I know most of you are not sewing along with me. That's fine. But all of these blocks are from that Quilt Builder card deck. And when I was working out of that card deck, there were no, as in 0, videos for, thank you, Nancy. There were 0 videos for a lot of these blocks. So I wanted to attempt to make some videos so that the next person who wants to work from this box and has a hard time finding videos like I did can find videos. I mean, I don't think I'm the be all and end all of teachers, but I got to be a better teacher than nobody, right? Yep. And I figure at least if it gives somebody an idea. Your hands were noticeably shaking. That's not good. And I'm still kind of on that green and purple kick. The dark green and the well, I've got a lighter purple today. I've been looking at my quilt wall and going, ooh, 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 I really like those colors together. You're going to try live stars and the basket. Oh, that's cool. If you do the flower basket, get it right. Don't mess it up like I did. Okay, let's see. Brandy is 472. Dawn is at 805. Lori at Quilting in the Country is at 203. Guys, she did a live yesterday, just a really quick live. And she was on, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. But she got 6 subscribers from that live. So yay, Lori. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. And she's going to try to come back to doing videos. But as always, she's still dealing with family stuff and all that. So it may be a little while before she's back permanently. So, yeah. There we have it. It'll be wrong now. And then I want to show you guys one other thing before I switch down. Some of you are on Facebook in the Mom and Pop Mom. Wouldn't it be cool if we did this? And this is the Hang in There quilt. It's a pattern that Mom did on her channel several years ago. I have it linked on the community page. I've got it linked in my Facebook group. I've got it linked under a couple of different videos about making this, a couple of shorts. I put my picture up yesterday, and I put Colleen's up in there because she's done it. Sylvia's done it. Lori at Quilting in the Country is working on it. I don't know who else. But it's just a little way to say, to Mom and Pop that we're thinking about them. And I'm not doing a tutorial video on this. I just did a few shorts because I want you to go watch Mom and Pop's tutorial video. I want you to go see that, and I want you to, watch their video if you decide to make it, because that helps their channel out. The more views they get, the more income they make off the videos. And with Laura Lynn being sick and the doctors not knowing what's going on, every little bit helps Mom and Pop, because of course with her being sick, she's not doing her normal lives and videos. So I want to tell Mom and Pop that we love him. And Marcus, his birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Marcus, if you guys are watching or if you're in the replay. And, go watch it, make one. We're not sending them to them. That's not what's happening. We are putting them up, letting them see the picture of it so that they know we love them. And that way they don't get flooded with a ton of these silly quilts. They're not silly, but you know what I mean. They don't need 50 of them hanging around their house, but I think it would be a great thing for if everybody put them up there. And hey, Sylvia, and I think I cut my purple the wrong size. Let's see. I did. I cut it too big. So let me fix that purple. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to bring you guys down here to the cutting table. You're binge watching them every night. That's awesome, Sylvia. That's a great idea. All right. So here's my cutting table. Yep. And even if you're not watching it live, if you're watching the replay, please wish Marcus a happy birthday in the comments, or go over to Mom and Pop's page and wish him a happy birthday there. I'm down with that. So what I'm doing is I'm fixing my little boo-boo that I made right here on my purple. And these blocks are made up of half square triangles. You could do 4 at a time flying geese. I'm not good at that. So maybe when Colleen does this, she will show it with the 4 at a time flying geese. Not my skill, unfortunately. Let's see, Colleen, Sylvia. I'm just looking to see who else here. Lori, hello, Sherlock. That's got fuzzy on it. And then I'm going to put the green up here, and I'm doing magic 8 half square triangles. I know Deborah Holdman left me a message on the community tab and said that she wasn't a fan of triangles. I don't think anybody's really a fan of half square triangles, but so many quilt projects require them that it's a good idea to have a hack in your tool belt to make them easily. And this is mine. I'm hoping that you guys can see that line. You cannot, so we get a pen so it'll be darker. And I have I've cut my 9-inch piece so that I get slightly bigger half square triangles than what I actually need. see, can you see it that time? Still not. Okay, let's bring it up here. I drew lines from corner to corner, both directions. I'm going to do it again on this one. And you can draw with pen on this. Those lines aren't going to show because we are going to sew on either side of them. You could use a friction pen so that you know that when you iron your HSTs that it gets ironed out. It's entirely up to you. I tried to use a pencil first because that's my preferred implement of destruction. And the pencil wasn't showing on camera, so that's why I switched to a pen. And my squares aren't matching 1000%, but that's okay because I've made these a little bigger and they're going to get squared down. All right, so now that I've got them drawn on, you can do this a couple of different ways. If you want, you can put a pen in here just to make sure that nothing wanders. Come on. But you don't have to either. I'm going to show it sewing it with the pins in it and not with the pins in it. And I'm going to move, well, no, I don't think I have to. Slide the machine this way a little bit. That might work better. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is with the pin in it. I have my 1/4 inch foot on here, and I'm going to sew straight across and make sure everything's where I want it. 2.5 stitch length, straight stitch, 1/4 inch, all the way across, both directions. And I'll do this fast for you. And if you have eagle eyes, you might be able to tell that I'm sewing just of a stitch, like one thread, closer to the line than a 1/4 inch. The reason I'm doing that is so that I have more room to wiggle. And you could chain stitch these. You could do a line on one, a line on the next, etc. Depends on how you like to do it. And the magic part of this comes in when you cut this. I'm not looking at the chat right this second. Sorry, guys. I will look in just a minute. I got good mods though, so I'm hopeful everything's okay. Be careful with the friction pins. Well, hello, Marie. Thank you, Sylvia. Yeah, I've never tried putting it in the freezer either to see if it would come back, but I gave a quilt to my stepdaughter that's in Michigan that I had used a friction to draw my free motion quilting on with. I should ask her to put it outside and take a picture for me, since they've still got snow on the ground. Now I am just going to go ahead and chain piece the next one. I don't have any pens in this one. You do you. If you need pens, you use pens. That's the beauty of quilting. You do things the way that works for you. And I liked Colleen's little short she did yesterday, showing the 1/4 inch foot for her machine and where it actually measures the 1/4 inch from the needle at. I'm guilty of using the edge of my foot instead of the edge of the outside edge of the foot itself. But You can do that as long as you're consistent and you're not trying to reach a certain measurement. I do it a lot whenever I'm scrap sewing, but that just gives me a slightly different measurement, like an eighth of an inch more. And doing it on the edge of the sewing foot itself, not outside of the edge of the, I don't even know what to call that. My brain just went boop. Out of service warning. And I'm hoping to see Dawn. The magic is remembering all this. The magic is easy, Colleen. I will show you guys this in a minute. Remembering these cuts is super simple. I can't do the flying geese hack to save my life, but I can remember the hack for this one. For the flying geese, I always have to look it up, and to me, that's not worth my time. But for this one, the only thing I have to do is look at my cheat sheet. I'll put a link to that in the description box because I have one that's shareable. But I just have to look at my cheat sheet to figure out how big to cut my initial squares. And there is a formula for that. I'm not good with the formula. I use the cheat sheet. You guys can laugh at me all you want for that. I like a good cheat sheet. All right. So now that we have got, my chair is just squeaky, squeaky. I think I have a mouse in my sewing room. Yeah. Oh, I don't know, Marie. I would have to look for that. Okay. So this is my line right here that I drew, and I sewed on either side of that line. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rotary cutter and my ruler, and I'm going to cut on that line. And let me move my glass out of the way. I was running behind like a crazy person today. And I should have cleared my little area better. But look what I can do now. I finally got a rotating cutting mat. I don't know that I like it any better than the regular one for this, but you know, we'll try it. And this is my first time using it to turn. I'm sure there's a learning curve for it, and I haven't hit that learning curve yet. You guys can laugh at me. Okay, so you cut across the two lines that you drew. Now here's the magic cuts that Colleen has a hard time remembering. And come on, work with me. I still have to turn it this way. Darn it. So now what I'm going to do, everything is still together. I didn't move that. You didn't see that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, and where the threads meet here, where they make little corners, I'm going to line my ruler up across there, and I'm going to make a straight cut. Just right straight across. Don't have to do anything else to it. It's cut. Okay. And then I'm going to turn my ruler. Once again, you can double check over here at this edge to make sure that everything's straight. Once again, I'm going to cut straight through those center points. And I now have 8 half square triangles. Okay. I need 16 for this block. So I'm going to set these over out of the way and cut the other one so that you have a visual. Yeah, the magic 8 is so easy for me. Like I said, I don't get the flying geese one, but I get this one. And there's a 32. I think Marie did it on her channel. I have not played with that one yet, but I am definitely intrigued. Although I don't often need 32 HSTs of the same thing, it might be good because I'm doing 600 hourglass blocks for a quilt that I have in the works. One of those Lori Holt ones, the one with the tractor, the big truck, and the tractor and stuff. And it requires 800, 600 pinwheels. I'm just making sure it stays lined up there. Lay down across the 2 points, do a straight cut. And the same thing the other direction, lay down across the 2 points, do a straight cut. I moved my sewing machine over too far. And this mosaic block is, once you've done that, you just lay your block out. You need to square up your squares, but I'm not going to make you guys watch me square up these HSTs. I think they need to go down to 2.5. And mine are bigger than that. Mine finished at 3 because that's the measurement that I used, or they need 2 7/8. And I was not fussy cutting fabric to get 2 7/8. Figured it was easier to bring these down. All right, and here's my picture. And I'm going to use my picture. Now I want the green to be my dominant fabric. So I'm going to put just like this. And you're going to make 4 blocks just alike, and then you'll turn the 4 blocks. You do the cross cuts before the diagonal ones. That makes sense, Sylvia. You can nap now. I'm just looking back to make sure. It's 4 cuts. 4 cuts. That's it. The house just shook. The storms may be early. Okay. All right. And then got to get my little, oh wow, I made these way bigger than I needed. You guys can laugh at me at how big I made these. Because that's all I need out of that whole block. So I will definitely be squaring these up off camera. But what you're going to do is you're going to sew 4 like this and then move the 4 so that they sit different directions. You'd have one going this way, one this way, one this way, and one that way. Unless you guys want to sit and watch me square up these blocks, which I can do. But I seem to always cut on the big side, but I would still rather do that than have my blocks end up being too small. And I'm just using my regular 5-inch ruler to do it. And I think it was, Colleen, was it you that I learned about that 45-degree line on your ruler? You that did that one. She's glad it's the house and not her. Then the other way you can do this is, and I showed this trick on a short, if you line up your 2 7/8 inch on your folded half square triangle. You can square it like this, and I find that to be faster. Still leaves you with dog ears, but it works very quickly. I'm cutting them to 2 7/8 inch, Nancy, because that's what the actual pattern requires in order to get the block to 10.5 inches. But I'm making them a little differently. The way they have you do it in the Quilt Builder's card box, is they have you cut all of your squares out. And these are 2.5 inch squares, so this isn't the right size. They have you cut them all out, cut all your pieces in half, and then sew your half square triangles. I'm like, no, I am not sitting here and sewing 16 separate half square triangles. I sewed 4 seams. I've got all the lines, all the half square triangles I need, and I can square them up very quickly, and I don't have to have a specialty ruler. I do have the specialty ruler that would do this, but then I have to work in between lines on that ruler, and it's a pain. So, and I started telling Nancy at the very beginning of the live, I'm thinking about doing podcasts, and they're a lot like a live, and on YouTube, podcasts are similar to doing videos, so it's not a big difference. Yeah, I'm not doing those HSTs that way either. But I was thinking about, how did everybody start sewing? I know how I started sewing. I started making Barbie clothes when I was a little kid, and I used a hand needle, and I used scraps of fabric. My mom sewed a little bit. I remember some scarecrow pants that she made for me that I absolutely loved. I wore them to school, and you guys know how kids are. So they didn't survive that first wear to school. I was like, I'm not wearing these again. You're poor because your mama has to make you clothes. You get it. And I thought, ugh. But I used scrap fabrics, and I made my Barbie's clothes, and I made clothes for my cousin Marina's horses, her like toy plastic horses. I think I even made a cowboy hat out of a pop bottle lid and some fabric. And I started sewing before there was internet, before there were regular telephones. And I think most of my subscribers are in the general age group I am. But I started sewing back when you not only didn't have a personal phone in your pocket, but you might not even have a personal phone that belongs to your family. We had a party line. And probably one of the times I got in the worst trouble of my life was there was a lady named Dixie, an elderly lady that lived up the road from us. And Dixie was always on the phone. And when you picked up your party line, you could hear the other person talking. So when I picked up the phone, it would always be Miss Dixie on the phone with her daughter or her son or her friend. And I was like, So one day, smart aleck mouth here, I was probably 10. I picked up the phone and I was like, goodness, don't you have anything better to do than talk on the phone all the time, lady? I think I said old lady. Well, Miss Dixie hung up the phone and she called my mama at work. And when my mama got home, y'all know what happened to my bottom. So yeah, wasn't calling nobody for advice on anything. So when I got married, and I didn't learn how to sew at home. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I got grounded for the phone too. I didn't get phone privileges back until I think I got married, if you want to know the truth. It was a long time. It was a long time. Um, so when I got married, we moved to Oklahoma City. My husband was in the military. Kids and all kinds of stuff. There was no such thing as the internet or any of it. So I went to the library and I bought patterns and I made those letters that she sent me explaining how to do this stuff because wow, what a treasure that would be, right? And this was like in 1985. So to some of you, it probably seems ancient. To me, it seems like yesterday. I can't believe how old we all are at this point. I figured since I was going to run my trap, I may as well sew, right? So what I've done there is I have put together two flying geese and I'm going to press their centers opposite directions. Am I hiding my? Oh, that's nice, Sylvia. I need to refresh. Am I back now? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press the seams opposite directions here. I know most of the time you want to press to the dark, but I want my point in the middle to stay. And really I should be sewing with the pointy one instead of down. And I don't know why I don't just sew out there on the Juki. I think I've got better light in here and better sound control. Because with Wayne on the phone with work, sometimes I end up getting bits and pieces from his coworker, and his coworker is sometimes loud. And then I need to give a shout out, guys. My mods know who Tansy is, and she has been working really hard at finding me subscribers, which is interesting. I'm like, you go, Tans, I appreciate it. But the reason I brought her up is because of Colleen. Colleen made a video for me a few days ago. And when I showed it to Tans, Tans was like, is Colleen a professional? I said, no. And she said, well, she should be, because Colleen did an amazing job on that video. And I'm not touting the video because it was a brag for me. I'm touting it because the video is professional. I mean, it's professional quality. If you guys ever need a video made, you should talk to Colleen. She's got the skills, buddy. And she should charge for it. She's good. She's very good. I don't have those video skills. And she made one for the pig blanket for her in-laws farm. They own Ozark Heritage Farm, and that's what she made the pig blanket for. That video is awesome. I sat here and cried, and I've watched the entire blanket be made. Woe to go, Colleen, and way to go, Tans. Yeah. YouTube will like them as much. And look, I sewed 2 wrong. That's what I get for talking. That's all right. That's why we have Jack, right? Anybody gonna sing it for me? Seam Ripper, you're my best friend. I always giggle when Mom sings it, but I shouldn't, because, you know, sure she's not happy to be having to rip seams either. Let me fix it. And Mom and Pop have gained, well, they were at 29.2 the last time I looked before today. And today, if I remember right, I think they're at 29.4, which is amazing. That's awesome. So you guys keep sharing your love for Mom and Pop with everybody. I've put it in my Facebook group and on my regular Facebook page. And if you aren't subscribed to them, I'd appreciate it if you go check them out and see if you want to be. One of the nicest channels on YouTube, guys. So anyway, I was thinking about all of that sewing technology that we didn't have back then. You know, and the fact that the internet and YouTube and cell phones have just made it so much easier. I mean, I'm even surprised sometimes by what cell phones can do. You know, I have an issue with sewing something and I'm like, well, how do you do this? And now I can like send a message to a friend and say, what did I do wrong here? You know, and almost instantly get an answer. And the thought of being able to message somebody in the UK and say, hey, Sylvia, I'm working on your FPP pattern and I don't get how to do whatever step I'm on. And then being able to go in Discord and watch it in real time, or have her generously send me a message and say, oh, well, you do that this way. My 21-year-old self, could not have fathomed that idea. Oh, your bonus mom cried too? Yeah. I don't know how to fix my sound is going ahead of the video. I know you are, Sylvia, and I appreciate that. I'm just mind blown, you know, and I would have never imagined that I would talk regularly with someone on the other side of the world. You know, Janet Johnson's in Australia. There's subscribers who are in Germany and the UK and Canada, you know, and Minnesota, Michigan. Just, you know, don't even have to pick up the phone and call. You just pick up your phone and hit text and send them a message and say whatever, you know. Mind blowing. And, you know, as a little kid, you know, where the only, I mean, you didn't hear the news until it had already all gone down. You know, the neighbors tried to kill his wife. Well, you didn't hear it till the popo showed up, and then it might be weeks before you heard what happened, the rest of the story. You know, like Paul Harvey used to say. Paul Harvey, yeah, Paul Harvey. You know, you might never know why he chased his wife down the road with a knife in broad daylight. Then again, you might. And I mean, nowadays, you could probably, if I really was curious about that, I could probably look it up on the internet and find the newspaper archives from the little tiny town I grew up in and see if he was ever arrested or if he ever went to jail for it or if it was just considered, you know, par for the course. And as a kid, if you lost track of somebody, you lost track of them forever. And now you can go back and find all those people. Not that you want to, all of them. Yeah, yeah, there is a negative to that. You can make them fly whichever way you want, Colleen. Any way you want to do it. Let's see which way to go with that one. I want to go this way. And I'm just making mine the same way that the pattern shows here. But if you, I mean, if you wanted yours to fly elsewhere or a different way, you could. Does that make them flying geese returning? Because I always kind of assumed flying geese meant they were migrating south for the winter. So maybe you could have them migrating back home after the winter's over. And this is again another simple block. I'm sorry. I guess next week I'm going to have to do a more difficult one just because. So see, that one's going to go that way. Yes, I turned HSTs into flying geese. I sure did. That's my preferred method of making flying geese. I don't like making the bias cuts on the angles. Like for the green on this one, I guess I would do. And the way this block makes them, it makes them as half square triangles. So I didn't do it that differently from the block. I just didn't make all 16 half square triangles separately. I made them as two sets of stitching and then I put my HSTs together to make the block. So yeah, Nancy, that's what I did. I'm looking for simpler ways for beginners to sew this and maybe for older sewers if they're interested in that. And on our last sewing bee, Colleen did something that I had never thought of doing, probably because I had never seen it done. I don't have much imagination of my own, but I know a good idea when I see it, guys. And Colleen had a block turn drawn in her shamrock uh, table runner that we were doing. And Lynn noticed it. And I was like, oh, Colleen, you poor thing. You're going to have to take that whole block out. Well, she didn't. She just fixed her corners. And I was sitting here going, she's a genius. Because I would have never thought to to just fix the 2 corners. I was raised, you take the whole block out, or, from all the quilting, I don't want to say raised because my mom didn't teach me, but all the quilting books that I've ever seen, it's like, yeah, you do this and you do that. And I was like, okay, so this is what you're going to have to do to fix that mistake. And then Colleen fixed it in 30 seconds with a genius idea that I had never heard of. And I was like, okay, you can teach old dogs new tricks. Me being the old dog, not Colleen. So, even though I'm doing a simple block here, I'm thinking, well, maybe it will help somebody else figure out how to do it. And yeah, I did turn half square triangles into flying geese, but making flying geese is harder. There are no rules in sewing. There may be quilt police or people who want to be quilt police out there. Let me put it that way. But they can just mosey on by. I don't have time for quilt police. Don't use sheets in your quilting? Why not? Don't do it like that? Well, it works. Why not? Pin everything. Okay, I can see that sometimes. But I'm more comfortable, and you can see me doing it here, using my little fingers to put things where I want them to go. And of course, trying to keep my fingers out of the way of the needle. I was rewatching one of my old shorts and I was showing up close stitching. And even I flinched because I was like, oh my gosh, my finger's so close to the needle. But then I watched myself sew, and I'm bad about doing that anyway. Okay, so there's our block. And I think I got everything going the right direction. And you could do a ton of different variations on this. You could do different colors if you wanted to. You could do, I mean, and this took, probably could do smaller than a 9-inch square of fabric. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so that came out right at 10 inches. So it's a tiny bit small. I should have probably gone to a slightly to the 3-inch instead of the 2 7/8. But you could do this any colors you want. You could do a black background and a light foreground. I mean, I think this would be cute. Even if you did a whole quilt out of this and didn't even put sashing in it, I think it would be adorable. Let me bring you guys back up here. Yeah, I always get, well, Lori from Sherlock Sews is always giving me comments about using scissors. All right, so here is the pattern, and there's my little cut guide. And then here is the block, and I haven't ironed it yet. I have a couple of my points off a little bit. Galloping horse. If you're riding by on a galloping horse, you shouldn't be able to see it. I don't care. So I'm good. Yeah, your 1/4-inch foot is more accurate. You just say, ouch, that's hurting your hand. Yes. Yep. When you made this block, you made them fly counterclockwise. Yeah, there is a negative to somebody being able to get to you 24/7 because like my stepdaughters, if they call their dad and he doesn't answer like the first time they call me. And sometimes that's okay because they know we're almost always together. But sometimes he's not answering because he's actually busy, like he's working and on a conference call. And I'll tell him, and then I just pass along the message to him. And I don't mind at all. I don't mind. But, it has changed our expectations. Used to be you'd leave a message for somebody or send them a letter and expect that it would take 3 days for the letter to get there, 3 days for the response to come back. Or you'd leave a message and you'd expect that you'd hear from them tomorrow or the next day, right? But now it seems like people are frustrated if you don't answer them right this second. And I have a group of people that I message with all the time. And Shirley, oh boy, that was bad. Colleen and Lori, it's like a 24-hour text message. So we just, one of us will have a random thought, throw it in the text message, and whenever somebody gets around to answering it, it's fine. You don't have to answer right this second. The same with quite a few other people. So if you happen to message me and I don't answer you right away, like on Facebook or something, um, don't take offense to it. It's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just I'm doing something else and haven't seen it, or I haven't had a chance to respond to it yet. That said, if you message me in Discord, I'm sorry. I will see it probably once a week because I don't check Discord that often. I usually check it on Thursday afternoons after my live, and maybe once over the weekend, depending on what else is going on. So if you want to message me, you probably want to use Facebook if you don't have my phone number. If you don't have my phone number, you probably need to talk to me to get it because I'm the only person who will give it to you. All my friends know not to give my number out unless I ask them to. Right. Phones are, well, we pretty much, once we say goodnight, nobody sends another message unless something big is going on. Um, so that's all I know there. Now, are there any questions about this block or any of this or anything else that's going on? Anybody have any questions about the hanging in there pattern or any of that? And I'm not going to give you the pattern because, like I said, I want you to go watch the video from Mom and Pop. Yes, please guard your privacy online. There are people out there who are not what they say they are. That looks like you wrote saliva, Lori. You can spell now. Yep. Oh, Marie, I'm sorry you're having a bad pain day. Please go take your medicine and rest. That is, no, I will never fault anyone for that because I have myself. Matter of fact, I've decided that I'm a toddler again. I've decided I need to start taking an afternoon nap, like from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 every day. Because if I do, then when I lay down, it lets my circulation in my legs and my hands, it seems to reset them so that I don't, because I have numb hands a lot of times, especially after I do a lot of free motion quilting or small piecing. So and I've got my gloves that I wear too, but that pain is not fun. So yes, go lay down. You're in my hugs. Sylvia's used to her name being spelled wrong. So am I. Melissa just seems to be one of those names no one can spell. The dusty rose block needs to be higher. Are you talking about that one? Right there? Colleen? Is that the block you're talking about? Well, it's actually supposed to be lower because I was gonna hang the hanging in there up there. Are you looking for the mistake? Is that what you're doing, Colleen? That is what she's doing, guys. She's looking for my error. Is that better? Does that make you happy? Because now you can see my error. That's to look so complicated. That's really an easy block. And Colleen, I do have a tutorial on it. I did it on live. It's the longest live ever. But you have the box too, so you can definitely do it. And I'm going to put this card back in here. I found one of my Quilt Builder card deck cards in there by the other sewing machine a couple of days ago. And I was like, why is this in here? Well, I need to put it back where it belongs. Have a great day, Sherlock. Thank you. Well, I'm glad you loved that block. I did find some more of my flower power blocks, so I'm glad that I didn't put the trim on the other side of my table runner. That may still turn into a quilt instead of a table runner. And I think that I have made every mistake you can make on an embroidery machine this week. I have caught my fabric. I have caught my backing. I have nested fabric or thread, not fabric. I've nested thread. I have bent my fingernail back in half, still waiting to see if it's going to break or if it's going to reattach. Seam ripper, seam ripper. Yeah, still waiting to find out if it's going to break or if it's going to reattach, but it's definitely loose. So those magnet hoops, you have to be very, very, very careful. It says it all over the hoop. You have to be careful when you put the top piece down on it because it will snap down. That's why it's called a snap hoop, right? And probably why it's called a monster. So yeah, it happens, right? So, but I figure I look at it like this. I'm making the mistakes now, so hopefully I know what to avoid in the future. Because I do want to do the chicken salad quilt on the embroidery machine. And I've got a couple of different edge-to-edge quilting patterns that I have figured out all the ins and outs of doing it with something that's don't tell mom and pop, but I definitely borrowed the seam ripper from them. Sass used it and I was like, oh, and so I copied and pasted. If you want me to pay you for it, Pop, I will. I forgot that I had done that. I think I've got sasses in there as well. Wow, look, it's all we've been here an hour. All right, guys, I'm going to say goodbye. You guys, please remember, Colleen says, be the light you hope to see in others. Sylvia says, be kind to others, not because they're kind, but because you are. And I say, if somebody's looking at your stuff close enough to find a mistake, tell them to go home. They don't need to do that. All right. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.